Hey everyone, this is Rachel Stewart, and just in case you forgot what you're listening to, this is the Pieces of Grit podcast. I am here to constantly challenge you to become who you are meant to be. Today, I have a little story about an incident last year that makes me so sad to bring it up, but I need to share my life with you and bring you in to my journey and all the things I'm learning, and hopefully it helps you in some way. So last summer, I was on my normal weekend 20-mile run. Yes, I know. And I was doing all 20 miles at one time. It's a very regular thing for me when I'm not injured. But that run had a ton of hills, and I knew, oh my gosh, I knew I was going to feel it later. So unfortunately, that feeling that I did end up getting, it just didn't leave. For the first time in my life, I developed a soft tissue injury in my knee. There's some kind of tendon or ligament that has been aggravated and overused. It's my own fault. I know that I need to stretch and do yoga and do all the strengthening way more than I did. So it's my own fault, really. But I spent weeks after that injury setting up doctor's appointments with various doctors and eventually ended up working with a physical therapist, which I was kind of trying to avoid, but I went, I was a good girl, and I did it. So every doctor and the physical therapist, they would test my strength and my flexibility throughout different parts of my lower body. They were trying to determine where the weakness was originated, because you could see the symptoms, but you have to figure out where the problem actually is before you can figure out how to fix it. So it's so helpful to have someone else point out your weak spots. And I know that that doesn't sound like a great thing, but trust me, it is. It's really good. And it's why I love all the therapy. I'm talking physical therapy, spiritual directors, psychologists, whatever works for you. The best part of getting therapy and working with a professional is that they don't just point out your weaknesses, they help you get stronger. So I specifically needed my knee to be resilient. I needed someone, a professional, to point out where the problem was and then help me create a plan to get back to health and where I needed to be. I needed it to be resilient, but I wanted it to hurry up through the recovery process. And yes, oh my gosh, I'm so impatient, but I have learned a ton about resilience during this season. So first, I have to get strong. And I go to the gym, I do all the exercises that the therapist assigned, even though they're kind of silly and I feel like a spectacle in the gym. But as I got stronger, I started becoming aware that it wasn't enough just to focus on that single aspect, which is where number 2 comes in. So I also have to develop flexibility. Now that I'm getting stronger, and I still wouldn't call myself strong, but I'm further along than I was when I started, I have to remember to stretch and maintain that flexibility. And it takes a ton of intentionality to schedule yoga into my life or to even stop and stretch for 2 minutes for a few times during the day while I'm working. And the reason I share all of that about my knee is that resilience is applicable to every part of our lives. And resilience means having a balance of both strength and flexibility. Resilience is also best revealed under pressure. And that means it's going to take a challenging event, a tough situation, maybe even a rough season of life to expose how resilient you are and then teach you where you need to strengthen and where you need to stretch. You face these kind of situations all the time, even if you don't realize it. You have relationships in your life, and even if you don't think you have relationships with other people, you have a relationship with yourself, which I might argue is the most important relationship, but that's another podcast. So you have jobs, you have your own fears, you have your own growth to deal with. It's crazy and it never ends. But have you ever had a thought when you're in the middle of something tough, oh my gosh, I cannot handle this, or I just want out, I want this to be over, or why in the heck is this happening to me? What have I done in the universe to deserve this? Those are the moments that resilience is being both revealed and developed, and pay attention when those things are happening. The next time you find yourself feeling like you're about to break, lean into it. I know that kind of sounds crazy because the last thing we want to do is lean into it. We want to get the heck away from whatever it is that is causing us pain and pressure. But whatever it is in your life right now, it won't break you. It is going to shape you and it's going to become a part of your story for better or worse, but I promise you, you can handle it. There are a few tried and true practices for developing resilience that I incorporate into my life that I know that you can benefit. Maybe not all of them, but one or two of these you can definitely implement in your life, even today or tomorrow, really quickly. So make sure that you have someone to talk to. As an introvert, it's kind of crazy that I think this is so important, but as an introvert, I have learned how detrimental it can be to hold those things inside of you. Find someone, even if you're paying a therapist to listen to you, get those thoughts out of your head, get the feelings outside of your heart, and then get some exercise, get fresh air. It changes your literal perspective. There is a whole thing called a grounding practice, and there are studies that show how connecting with different forces in the earth, and I'm not all woo-woo, so don't get crazy about that, but touching the ground, the dirt, there are just things that are good for us in that. So get outside, find something you enjoy, and just go do it. Move your body. Then you can also make an effort to do something kind for someone. That is the best way to elevate your mood. It's going to get your mind off of yourself, which is such a deep, dark hole for us. It's like a downward spiral if we're not careful. Go do something kind. Make cookies for your neighbor. I don't know, give someone a Starbucks gift card. Or the next time you're out buying your coffee or you're at the grocery store, leave enough money for the person behind you to get coffee or pay for someone's groceries. Whatever it is, you figure it out. Do something that feels organic to you. And then the next one is to journal or meditate, something that is a practice that works for you, and being reflective or finding positive mantras to focus on and kind of be intentional throughout your day or your week or however you define a season in your life. You may not know this, but muscles always tear before they get stronger. It sounds terrible and it sounds painful. But if you're not into going to the gym and working out, that is fine. I'm going to fill it in for you. But if you watch any athletes, the Olympics are coming up soon. And so all of those athletes, when they have a really hard workout, what they're doing is they're tearing their muscles intentionally. But what that does is it makes them stronger. And so every day that you are feeling torn or broken down because of something in your life, remember that you're getting stronger. Learn from what you're going through. Try to be in the moment, to feel what you're going through and to think about what you're learning so that you can do something different the next day. And now think about a rubber band. This is a great analogy that I love to share. Rubber bands are the perfect picture of resilience. Rubber bands, they can stretch really far, but rubber bands are also strong enough not to break, and they hold together whatever it is that you need to hold. So my advice to you today is to be a rubber band. If nothing else that I've said today, you can definitely remember that. Just go out there and be a rubber band. Every time I share a solo episode, my hope is that these become more than just rambling, inarticulate words. My own struggles and the lesson that I have learned can be tools for you to become who you are meant to be. It doesn't mean that you won't have to walk through your own seasons and experience your own growing pains, but you will know that you are not alone. What you're going through, someone else is going through something similar. There is nothing new. We're all in this life together. So be reminded that life is full of stretching and strengthening. Be sure to check out the show notes and browse through the resources that I've shared. Anytime I talk about something like this, I also like to share supplemental books or other resources, websites, blogs that you can go to be encouraged, to be strengthened, and equip yourself to do what you need to do and be better tomorrow. Even though I would love to have a conversation with each of you, this is the way that I'm kind of able to do that, is by sharing the things in my life that have worked, and hopefully they work for you. These are usually items, the things that I share in the show notes or on the website, they are items that I have used or read or been referred to by other people, and I share them because I really believe that you have the potential to be so much more, and that knowledge is going to be power for you. So get out there, own your resilience, and amplify your life. Thanks for listening today. I really do try to throw in some shorter episodes so that you're not always listening to the 45 or the 50-minute interviews that I do. Hopefully give you a chance to know me a little more. I have a lot of other resources on the website. If you are new to Pieces of Grit, I want to say thank you for sticking around and listening to all of this. I have a Patreon members group, and on Patreon, I always share a few more resources. I like to give people a heads up on guests that I'm bringing on the show, give you an opportunity to even be involved and ask questions about particular topics or for particular people that are coming on. So you can check out the Patreon link in the show notes. And I would absolutely love for you to throw a review on Apple Podcasts. If you're listening on iTunes, you can just scroll to the bottom of the screen that you're on. You'll see a place where you can click on stars and then you can add a quick review. I swear it takes 5 seconds. So just do it really quickly and I will talk to you next time.